on Wednesday, we saw Jim Nagy, a name that people are very familiar with this time of year, hired as Oklahoma's GM. He was the Senior Bowl executive director. He's been doing that a few years. Jumped on in 2018. Obviously, a guy with a lot of respect in the industry. But to me, it strikes me as kind of an odd move. I mean, obviously, you're very familiar with the personnel, but it seems like a very different job. What the Senior Bowl does is very different than what a GM is going to do. But what a GM is even going to do is going to vary a lot between programs. Chris, what did you make of this move just on its face?
I think it's a really good hire for Oklahoma, a really big name guy with all kinds of connections throughout the entire sport. You want a guy who's scouting players ahead of time and maybe knows who to think about in the portal come that time of year. Like, this is a guy who knows everybody. Nick Saban loves him. Like, this guy is very, very well respected, been running the Senior Bowl, has kind of helped turn it into a bigger deal. And that's all the whole thing. So I think that's a huge move for Oklahoma. I'm surprised that he would go to a place like Oklahoma now.
Yeah.
Because it's not going well for Brent Venables. And I don't know if he's necessarily on the hot seat because he got a big contract extension last year, but like, it is a bit of a risk. You're not coming into a place that's like rolling and we can go. Like, there's a lot of work that he's going to have to do and that Brent Venables has to do to turn around that program. So the timing and the place is kind of surprising from Nagy's perspective. Am I off there?
No, I mean, if Oklahoma goes 7-5 this year, there's going to be a lot of conversation about like making a change there. You know, no matter how expensive that is, Oklahoma doesn't put up with losing because Oklahoma doesn't lose, and they've been losing a lot, and now they're in this spot where you're going to be doing that. And it's February 26th. The spring calendar window is going to be significantly less consequential. The value of a lot of this scouting is not nearly as valuable. You're going to be doing the work, you know, in the next 10 months that you hope pays off in December if you're Nagy, and so there's a chance that you might do all this work and not get to actually exercise it. You know, that's kind of the weird spot for me. But I guess from Nagy's perspective, you know, if you're not getting a ton of calls to do jobs like this, and this came out of nowhere, it is Oklahoma. I mean, we're talking about one of probably, the 10 best jobs, best brands in the country. I mean, you know, we don't need to litigate that, but it's close. So, like, if somebody wants to say, hey, I'm going to put you in charge of Oklahoma's roster, I can see how that'd be very enticing, despite the fact that, like you said, you know, you're in a weird spot. You're coming off of the bowl loss, a very disappointing season, not what people were hoping coming into the SEC. So a weird move, but it's not like he chose Oklahoma over somewhere else, somewhere new. It was probably Oklahoma to keep doing what he's doing. So, you know, that sort of is interesting to me. But
we also, and we have put in a FOIA request for Jim Nagy's contract at Oklahoma, the joys of working for a public school. So we'll see kind of the perks he's getting in the role and stuff like that. Because every GM, like, we don't know like how GM roles work at every school. We haven't actually done this yet. At Stanford, Andrew Luck is above the coach. So not that I think they would fire Andrew Luck if they fired Troy Taylor, but it is a little bit different everywhere. It does seem like Nagy's pretty tied to the hip here with Venables. So we'll see. But I think it's a great move for Oklahoma. Would have been a great move, you know, 4 months ago before you kind of got into that period, but still, big move. Oklahoma's been making some big moves. Like, they know things have to be better, and that's a good sign.